right, Ethan Kogan again in A10. We're going to take a good look at this document today, and it looks like in this document it's February 17th, 1898.
What
could
was
be
going
going on?
on
Of course.
in 1898?
And that whole what was going on thing, isn't that called like historical context? One
Yeah.
of those things you like to bring up?
Historical context.
So what was going on? All right, you had Spain that had control of Cuba and the Philippines. We want to expand.
We are in the middle of colonial empire building,
Right,
acquiring
imperialism.
colonies throughout the world.
Everybody's hyped up about Alfred Thayer Mahan's book that talks about going out and
Nationalism
expanding.
is at an all-time high.
Okay, I think we beat that to death.
Yeah.
So let's look at what's in the newspaper. All right, this is the New York Journal. It's a $50,000 reward for who destroyed the Maine. Okay, the Maine, I'm guessing that's a ship. Yes, it is. Destruction of the warship Maine was the work of an enemy. $50,000 reward again here. Here. Yep.
If I was walking past this on the streets of New York City and I saw a $50,000 reward and this is only going to cost me like a couple pennies to buy this newspaper, I might buy it.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot that does catch your attention because that's what newspapers want to do.
Big
So,
bolded headlines.
big, huge fonts,
Yeah.
and of course they like to put destruction, warship, and then of course, what makes it even better is that now you're throwing Roosevelt's name into
Yep.
it. So you're emerging tough guy of that era. So the warship that was destroyed, they even give it. Yep, the USS Maine. Assistant Secretary Roosevelt convinced the explosion of the warship was not an accident. The Journal offers a $50,000 reward, just in case you didn't catch it in the other
Yep.
places, for the conviction of the criminals who sent 258 American sailors to their deaths. Naval officers are unanimous that the ship was destroyed on purpose.
So the Maine was sank, I think, on February 16th.
Yeah, right around Valentine's Day.
Yeah,
Yep.
and the next day, this newspaper knows for sure who did it.
Yeah. With that, I mean, think about airline crashes today. Think about other explosions like this. This is a very
Long
lengthy
investigation.
You're taking debris.
Yep.
The national NTSB or whatever, they get involved, and even then, you're talking weeks, maybe months later.
Even with September 11th.
Right.
Even with, Al Qaeda saying, yeah, we did it. We investigated it. We found all the evidence of who was on the planes before we officially concluded what had happened.
So
then.
this is pretty quick, where you're coming out and you're going, hey, it was.
It's a mat where you can jump to conclusions.
Right. I mean, and here's the thing too. You throw Assistant Secretary Roosevelt. At the point in time, he was the Assistant Secretary of the Navy. All right. So now there's a guy with some clout. He is involved in the Navy. However, this guy was a lawyer. He was a rich kid. As far as I'm concerned, he wasn't an investigator. He was a bit of a health nut, like the box. But
I also believe he was once quoted as saying, "I believe America could use a good war."
Use a war, right? So I mean, there's some certain things to keep in place. So the thing is that I'm guessing this newspaper wants readers, $50,000 reward, and when we're looking at newspapers, again, they're in the business of informing the public, but they want to make money.
Yeah, and we see this in the internet today.
Of course.
You're scrolling through a social media headline, something, and there's that big headline. It's like, check this, and you're like, what we call it today, clickbait.
Right, clickbait.
It's called clickbait.
Oh,
today.
I didn't know that. That's
Yeah.
a good one. This would definitely be a clickbait.
This is clickbait.
Where can I get it? Blah, blah, blah. You believe much in what Roosevelt's saying here? I mean, if we were to read this a little bit more.
I mean, if I'm naive, sure.
Yeah.
If I know that a warship just blew up and they're it's the news. The news wouldn't lie to me.
No,
They wouldn't lie to me. But again, hopefully this is bringing up and we're remembering exactly what this is.
Yes.
And why this is so important.
I mean, they're playing on emotion. 258 American sailors were killed. By now, hopefully you're connecting some dots. The USS Maine was sent down to Havana, Cuba to protect American citizens and U.S. business interests. And then, bang, the ship blows up. And this is just a modified version of it.
This
is what it actually looked like.
They even had an illustration of how it happened.
I
A
know.
day later. This is what happened, and here's how it happened.
Unbelievable. Unbelievable. And of course, we know today, they were able to come up with a conclusion with this years and years later when...
Like 1985, I think it was?
85, 95, where they were able to come up with, hey, they did tests, they did investigations, they did all this, and they were able to come up with the conclusion that this was an internal combustion, an internal explosion. You had...
The coal in the boiler room heated up, the walls next to the shells of the artillery, and kablooey.
And heat travels, as you know, conduction, convection, radiating.
As you know, like
Right.
we're supposed to know this.
Yeah, well, yeah. So that, that wall then gets superheated up. That's going to cause that gunpowder and that ammunition to ignite, and boom. It just happens to be a coincidence. We're there. Relationship with Spain is not on good terms. So, it's easy to point the finger there.
And Spain has something that we might want.
Right. Land.
Land, territory.
This is your textbook example of yellow journalism, and we're going to use this political cartoon to kind of like pound that into your head. You had William Randolph Hearst and Joseph Pulitzer at the time who were competing for readers. And what time is a great time to, really try to get more readers subscribing to your paper or buying it each day is, a war. And when we're looking at the causes of the Spanish-American War, yes, the USS Maine was born. The atrocities that were taking place in Cuba.
American business interests in Cuba.
This is a big one because this is, the newspapers who wanted a war, they were helping to shape, public opinion. So before we even, get to this, there are probably dozens of other newspapers that are talking about, articles or stories talking about how the relationship is kind of stale with Spain. There was quite a bit of photographs, I shouldn't say photographs, there were some photographs and then some exaggerations on the atrocities taking place down there, but that would be
Yellow
the first time.
journalism. Also
Exaggerated.
known as clickbait today.
Sensational newspaper reporting, clickbait, I like that one. And again, the headlines, that's what we were getting at. We missing anything with
No.
this? All right, good.
Thanks for
Thanks for
watching.
watching.